Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. I truly appreciate your comments, feedback, and thoughts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you again in the next stories.
I never imagined my own mother would throw me out of my little sister wedding after I secretly sacrificed 12 years of my life to make that day possible. The moment I reached the entrance, the wedding coordinator looked at me with panic in her eyes and quietly said my name had been removed from the guest list just hours earlier. Then my mother walked over, smiled as if nothing was wrong, and said the words that shattered everything I believed about family. Why would we invite someone who is not really family? She thought she had erased me from the biggest day of my sister's life. What she did not know was that my signature was on the contract that paid for every chair, every flower, and every moment of that wedding. Within minutes, the entire ceremony would come to a stop because of one mistake she never saw coming. My name is Claire Dawson. I have spent more than a decade working as an ICU nurse, helping strangers survive the darkest nights of their lives. People trusted me when everything else was falling apart, but I never expected my own family would become the hardest people to save. Last summer, I arrived at my younger sister Emma's wedding wearing my best dress and carrying a small gift that had waited 12 years to reach her hands. I smiled at the woman checking names at the entrance, told her who I was, and watched the color drain from her face. She quietly looked up and apologized before telling me my name had been removed from the guest list that very morning. Before I could even ask what had happened, my mother stepped beside me with a calm smile and spoke loudly enough for everyone nearby to hear. Why would we invite someone who is not really family? Those words hurt more than anything I had ever heard. I looked at her, nodded once, and told her that if that was truly how she felt, then this would be the last time she ever saw me as family. I turned around and walked away, believing I had finally lost the only people I had spent 12 years sacrificing everything to protect. What my mother did not realize was that the wedding she had just thrown me out of legally belonged to me. My name was printed on a contract she had never bothered to read, and within minutes, that single detail would stop the ceremony before my sister could even walk down the aisle. 12 years earlier, my father died suddenly from a stroke. I was finishing nursing school while Emma was only 15 years old. After the funeral, I discovered our family was drowning in debt. The mortgage was already months behind, and one night I found my mother sitting on the kitchen floor surrounded by unpaid bills. She begged me to help save our home, but made me promise Emma would never know where the money came from. She believed my sister deserved a normal childhood without carrying that burden, and I believed protecting her was the right thing to do. After graduating, I accepted exhausting night shifts because they paid better. Every paycheck sent nearly half my income directly into my mother account. I paid the mortgage, repaired the house, bought Emma braces, covered school trips, and eventually paid for her entire college education. Every dollar passed through my mother first, allowing everyone to believe she alone had carried our family through tragedy. She became the admired widow everyone praised, while I slowly became the daughter people believed had forgotten where she came from. As the years passed, Emma drifted farther away from me. Whenever I missed birthdays or family gatherings because I was saving lives at the hospital, my mother told everyone I simply did not care anymore. Invitations disappeared before reaching me. Phone calls became shorter. The sister I loved believed I had abandoned her, while I kept sacrificing more because I thought silence was protecting her. Years later, Emma got engaged. My mother called asking for one final favor. Emma had fallen in love with a beautiful wedding venue they could not afford. Without hesitation, I paid the entire $21,000 cost. Since the venue required the cardholder to sign every document, I became the official client listed on the contract. My mother insisted she remain the wedding contact so I would not be disturbed during work, and I agreed without realizing that one signature would eventually expose every lie she had spent years building. As the wedding approached, I was left out of every celebration. No dress fittings, no planning lunches, no rehearsal dinner. Then, 8 weeks before the ceremony, Emma secretly mailed me an invitation herself with one handwritten message that gave me hope. "Are you coming, please?" I mailed this one myself. On the wedding day, that hope disappeared the moment I was turned away at the entrance. Heartbroken, I drove away believing there was nothing left to fight for. But back at the venue, the coordinator discovered the paying client had been publicly removed from her own event without permission. Company policy required my written approval for any major change, and my mother had ignored that rule completely. The coordinator informed the groom, Ethan, who was shocked to learn I had secretly paid for the entire wedding. Standing beside him was his father, Richard, who suddenly recognized my name. 2 years earlier, I had been the ICU nurse who stayed beside him through the worst nights of his life after a massive heart attack. He remembered me as the nurse who never gave up on him. Now he realized the woman everyone claimed had abandoned her family was actually the one who had quietly sacrificed everything for them. The ceremony stopped. Guests waited in confusion while phones rang across the venue. Emma demanded the truth, and for the first time in 12 years, my mother could no longer control the story. Every lie unraveled as she admitted I had paid for the house, Emma education, and even the wedding itself. A few minutes later, my phone rang. Emma was crying. She asked only one question. Was it all true? For the first time in 12 years, I answered with a single word. Yes, she begged me to come back. When I returned, she stood waiting with our father-restored wristwatch in her hands, the same gift I had left behind when I walked away. Instead of asking our mother, she looked at me and asked me to walk her down the aisle. Together, we walked the same path where I had been rejected only hours before. No revenge speech was needed. No public humiliation could have been more powerful than the truth finally standing in the open. That day taught me something I will never forget. Silence may feel like love, but when you stay silent long enough, someone else will write your story for you. Real love does not hide forever. Sooner or later, the truth always finds its way into the light. And when it does, no lie is strong enough to stand in its way.